Coming up this week on Hip Hop Now podcast, this is an extra episode, and we're going to talk about the fact that Ugly God considers mumble rap a disrespectful word. It's actually a term, but yeah.
But let's get right to the business.
Read these headlines. This album must be gone.
This album must be gone.
Classic albums are coming to Hip Hop Podcast.
What up, y'all? I am your host, Vegas, and welcome to Hip Hop Now Podcast Extra, a podcast designed to catch you up on all things hip-hop, music, and culture that happen throughout the week. Please know, which you probably already know because you're listening, but you can share it. This podcast is available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play Music, Podbean. I'm running out of stuff. TuneIn Radio. And of course, SoundCloud.com/hiphoppolitic. Just real quick footnote. This past week, we celebrated the life of the notorious B.I.G. It was the anniversary of his death, the 20th anniversary of his death on March 9th, 2017. And I wrote an article remembering the great B.I.G. from my first time hearing him all the way up until his death. You can check that out on theshadowleague.com. I've done a couple of articles there, mostly kind of preserving the culture, but I will be doing some more up-to-date reviews of, Netflix shows and things of that nature. So, theshadowleague.com, check out my article remembering the notorious B.I.G. Let's get right into the business, though. So, some of you may or may not know the rapper Ugly God. He's fairly new. He's kind of like the new flavor of the month. Big shout out to hiphopdx.com. They had an exclusive interview with him where he said this, and I quote, in regards to mumble rap, "It's a disrespectful word, period." Now let's get into a little bit more of his explanation because we're going to break these things down. That's what the extra is in this particular podcast, where we take one topic in hip hop and we really break it down and we really talk about it. So please know that you can leave your comments about this topic and others in the comment section. But you got to subscribe. You got to subscribe first. He says this, speaking on the topic of mumble rap, Ugly God states, "Some people throw me in that realm, some don't. But I think it's kind of a disrespect to call it mumble rap when you can actually understand what they're saying. I like using Lil Yachty as an example. That's a homie of mine. They'll talk so much stuff about his music, and then he'll drop more music. And then they'll talk, we don't curse here. We'll talk ish about that. What doesn't make sense to me, if you feel like he's trash, why the F would you listen to something else he dropped? If you hate it, you wouldn't even pay any mind or even pay any attention to it." And he keeps on going. But instead, they want reactions, and they're secretly fans. Well, they'll get him or Uzi on interviews just to talk ish or embarrass them. But at the end of the day, you pay him to be on the interview. You bought his flights out for you to come to, come on, dude. You bought his flights out for you to come interview him. So they're secretly fans. I'm the one speaking for that. That was a lot. And I do appreciate the fact that the brother was clear. So let's talk about, or as clear as some of us can get it, right? But let's talk about mumble rap, right? Because he raised a couple of points about mumble rap, about understanding them. I'm sorry, Ugly God, but that is the whole reason behind the term mumble rap, is the fact that they're mumbling. Now, me personally, I give them somewhat of a pass on the mumbling part only because it can be viewed as a style of rapping. And as you know and I know, there is no standard style. There's a standard style, But in hip hop, we tend to view that as being boring if you're not just more than that. So, there's the old dirty bastard style, there's the MF Doom style, you know what I'm saying? There's the DMX style, there's different styles in hip hop. And Mace was kind of like a mumble rapper, but you could, it was a lazy flow. But, there were people who complained about the way Mace rhymed, right? And I'm not saying that Lil Yachty or any of these dudes are comparable to somebody like Mace. I'm just saying that is the point when we talk about the style, the mumbling, right? No, not everybody understands him, right? But me personally, I've taken the time to actually try to understand him. Now, Future sometimes is hard to understand only because, not because he doesn't speak that clearly, but because he has auto-tunes and all types of effects on his voice that distort parts of his words. And I think people like it for that reason, but again, can't really understand all of it. You know what I'm saying? So I think he kind of has a point in regards to saying that you can understand him. Cool. The whole part about, they're secretly fans and they bring them on just to prove a point and be negative towards them. I can see where certain people did that because honestly, and I'm not trying to plant the mumble rap flag because trust me, I got darts for them. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is I've seen cases where these dudes have been asked to freestyle on shows that, maybe it's a tradition, dudes come through. If they're going to come through, all rappers have to rap. But they know these dudes ain't lyrical rappers. So it's like they really did put them on that, on that spot just so they can embarrass themselves, just so they could prove a point that these rappers are whack. But I think the problem with that, where Ugly God kind of has a point, that's not really their lane to be lyrical. Admittedly, you know what I'm saying? And one other thing that I didn't read that I kind of left out of what Ugly God said was the fact that, he feels like he can be a lyrical MC. He is a lyrical MC, but that's not the music he makes because that's not what got him noticed and that's not what's going to get him paid. And then there lies a problem right there, right? Because with the different points that I brought up regarding mumble rap and embarrassing them and having them freestyle and all of that, hip hop as a tradition used to be so young that we only had the rules. And those were the rules. Hip hop didn't get to, it probably not until this point, old enough for us to say, okay, that was the past, this is the present, this is the future in regards to, the rules to the game. Because that's changed for a number of art forms, including jazz and blues. Well, maybe not blues as much, but yeah, you get some artists who will consider blues artists, but it's not that traditional blues. R&B, same thing. So a lot of soul used to exist, y'all, but now it's more like it's R&B. There's no soul singers. Even though, you may listen to someone and feel like, well, he's a soul singer. But compared to what it used to be, no. And that's the same thing with hip hop. It's kind of like they got to get a better situation going in regards to these rappers because you have the old school thinkers and you have the new school thinkers. And then you have people who are kind of like me who are somewhat in between where you get why the young kids like it because this is what represents them. But then you get why the older cats don't like it because there's rules to this game. And in an unfair but a fair way, hip hop has always been about your lyrics. And if I get through the fact that you're mumbling and now I can understand you, if I do all of that and get through there and you're not saying anything, well, then what's the point? And what I've kind of observed about this music, mumble rap, whatever you want to call it, is the fact that it's about the beat and it's about the hook. That's it. It's about the beat and the hook. So if you like the beat and you like the hook, the lyrics, the verses are they might as well be ad libs. You know what I'm saying? Because they're really only there to support the hook and the beat. It's more of a vibe situation where if, I could think of a mumble rap topic. It's so easy. But like, take my roof off or something like that, right? And the beat is hard and the hook is catchy. And all you got to say is like, I'm in the car leaning, blah, 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 whatever. You know what I'm saying? And it can go depending on how catchy the hook and the beat is. And a lot of times, when these artists spring up, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like Future releasing the album every week is cool, but when you add them numbers up, they don't really add up. But then it's kind of like, well, maybe it's not necessarily about the numbers the album does. Maybe it's about the money the shows do. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's about just keeping something out there so that you get that quick media spike. And, that's the whole thing with the whole mumble rap situation and Ugly God feeling like, people secretly like it. Let's talk about that. Secretly like it. I feel like he was hitting some respectable points in regards to, these artists and in some cases them being taken advantage of, these mumble rap artists or whatever. But once he said they secretly like it, see, that's a double-edged sword, right? Because I am king of, I don't like it, I don't watch it. I don't like it, I don't listen to it. Because I don't like it. I'm not going to harp on it because, it's the flavor of the hate month for me. You know what I'm saying? So I get what he's saying. There's some people who have basically made it their mission to hate on mumble rap because they don't like it. If you don't like it, cool. But somebody likes it. That's why we see this person. Somebody likes it. But to say that people secretly like it because they express their opinion, I can see if their opinion goes on for months and days and hours and whatever, then it's like, yeah, that's a hater. But if you get the majority of the crowd not liking what you do and expressing that opinion, it doesn't mean they secretly like it. It just doesn't. It just means that it's whack to them. Can't understand what you're saying. They don't understand how it could be like. They don't understand how it is even categorized as hip hop. And that's it. And I think that's where the whole debate of the situation lies. It's not that the young cats who do this quote unquote mumble rap can't do what they do. It's the fact that it can't be labeled as hip hop. I know some people say, but it is. But I mean, Limp Bizkit might as well be hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Because he was mostly rhyming. And yeah, it was rocking all of that, but that's just the beat. Let's not pretend like we don't have hip hop records that have rock beats to them. And I know there's some true blue hip hop fans who are like, well, that wasn't hip hop either. Sorry, but Walk This Way was hot when it came out. I don't care. Run DMC mastered rapping over rock beats. So, no. But the thing is you get this situation where, cats kind of feel like, they can do what they do. It's not for me, but do not call that hip hop because it's not. It's not based in anything related to hip hop. The beats are redundant. The rapper is mumbling, but that could be a style. And he really doesn't have anything to say, and a lot of times it's the same thing they have to say. So it's not hip hop to them. You know what I'm saying? They don't see it as being rap. But unfortunately, it is rap. See, now this is where, I gotta give, the argument that at least some of these cats are trying to say, some of these younger cats are trying to say, but they really don't know how to express it. But sorry, hip hop, you cannot choose your members. I'm sorry. It's an older game now. There's going to be, you know this, there's going to be records and artists who you don't hold in high regard. But you cannot disown them because they are doing the things that are considered hip hop. Those are hip hop beats. May not be your beats that you like, but those are hip hop beats. They are rapping. They're rhyming words together. May not be the most lyrical, spiritual miracles and blah, blah, blahs, but they are rapping. And the mumbling can be considered a style of rapping. So that's what I mean. It's like, is mumble rap hip hop? Yes. I mean, rap is in the term, mumble rap. So that's the thing. We don't have to like it. It doesn't have to be what we like in particular. Because let me give you a quick, snapshot into me. Because I listen to a lot of hip hop or whatever. And there are artists who I didn't like in the beginning that I wound up liking. There are people who I hated right out the gate and never liked. And there are people that I know a lot of people hate from a rap standpoint, but I like them from a rap standpoint. Because I feel like, me personally, rap has all kinds of different styles. It's like the X-Men. You know, you got all these different mutants in the world with all kinds of powers. You know, one dude turned into dirt. This dude is metal. And you know what I'm saying? And they got all these different powers. Some powers are cooler than others. Everybody loves Wolverine, right? Everybody loves Wolverine, even Cyclops. But, I wasn't the biggest fan of Jubilee. Like it felt like she was shooting glitter at people. But, that's neither here nor there. But back to hip hop terms, like I didn't like DMX when he first came out. Now, some of that was a little bit of me still kind of reeling from the deaths of Tupac and Biggie and feeling like, where's the game at this point without two of his leaders? But I didn't like DMX because I didn't feel like DMX was saying anything lyrical. I didn't like the fact that he was just angry at you on records. Not that because I used to like Tim Dog, so we know he was angry. But I also didn't like the fact that his gimmick was kind of like a dog and he'd be barking on tracks. I didn't like it. And I remember this one dude where I used to work was like, yo, DMX is crazy. I'm telling you, it's not really about that. It's not really about being extra lyrical. It's not really about comparing him to nobody else. It's his energy. So I was like, all right. And then, when I heard Get At Me Dog, like for the 14th time, I was like, yeah, okay, I could kind of see it. I see what he's talking about. And with every record, I could see why people liked him. And because of the beats and the energy, I began to like DMX. And, I like a lot of those early albums. Now, I'm not comparing no mumble rappers to DMX. I'm just making a point of the fact that they are hip hop, whether you like it or not. They may not be your brand of hip hop, just like for some people back in the day, hearing Sugar Hill Gang was whack when you were used to hearing Cold Cuts Brothers. But listening to people like Vanilla Ice or MC Hammer, some people who were hip hop true blue didn't like them. Like I didn't like Vanessa, like I'm really messing up. Vanessa Ice. That should be someone, or that maybe that's like a porno name or something, Pornhub.com. But you know what I'm saying? Go there after the podcast, not right now. Please don't do it at the same time. Meaning, listen, just pause, all right? But the thing is, people didn't like Vanilla Ice. I didn't like Vanilla Ice at all because what I saw was a clear example of someone taking our music and profiting off of it, becoming very popular when Rakim was here. Rakim was already here. You know what I'm saying? EPMD, Big Daddy Kane, all these dudes who were monsters in the game, and this dude comes out with one song that's basically stealing the whole vibe and chant call of the Alphas, and he's a white dude. That kind of bothered me. But at the end of the day, he was rapping. It wasn't the greatest beat, but it was a beat. It wasn't the best dances, but it was hip-hop dancing. So we can't really shun that away like, yo, that's not hip-hop. So I think going forward, right, and I'm speaking to the old heads, the true blues, and the 90s head nod to your sleeps, which include me sometimes. I'm not different. But I feel like going forward, we shouldn't really hold the flag of saying that's not hip-hop, because it is. We can say, you know what we do? You do what I do. I don't like that. Done. When it comes on the radio, I turn it off. When he's talking in an interview, I turn it off. When somebody says, yo, he's hot right now, I be quiet. Or maybe I ask a couple of questions like, word compared to what? You know what I'm saying? Because the thing is let the youngins have whatever they have. Now, if they want to start comparing these artists to some of the legends of the past, then that's when you get in your bag. Then that's when you say, prove it. Line for line, verse for verse, because this goes out to the millennials and the younger cats. If you want to be accepted into this hip hop thing and you want to be equals because you feel like they're good, you're going to be judged as such. Period. That's going to do it for me for this week. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at VegasWorldINC. If you do Facebook, facebook.com/hiphop right now. Hit that like button. And in regards to this podcast, it's available on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, Podbean, SoundCloud.com/hiphoppolitic, where the hop and the politic share the P. And also know I got a network that I started. It's kind of on the low, but y'all get to know because y'all faithful and y'all listen or whatever. It's called the B-Roll Network on YouTube. That's BROLE Network. I'm doing a couple of videos. There's going to be video games, different topics. There's going to be people who have channels on there who do sports and all kinds of things. So check that out, B-Roll Network on YouTube. Also, check out some of my writings on theshadowleague.com, including the story I just wrote, or the article I just wrote, about remembering the notorious B.I.G. And until next week, y'all, I am not a critic. I'm a fan. Peace.